evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another round of Round the Clock. With me, Rahul, and I have with me in-house experts Sagar, Rajeev, and Sudeep. Welcome you all.
Thank you.
We are now going to review the Headingley Test, and we're going to preview the Edgbaston Test. So not many smiles today because of what happened at Headingley. So moving straight away to the discussions point, gentlemen. My first question to Sagar is the reason why India lost. Many reasons. Two reasons, mostly the middle order collapse and the backup of Bumrah, which we'll take up later with Sudeep. Sagar, my question to you is both innings, a loss, a collapse of 6 for 41 and 6 for 31, which if not, we could have taken it to maybe another 100, 150, and we could have reduced the time frame in which we could have restricted them also. So your take on these two mid-innings collapses, Rajiv, Sagar.
True. There's not just one or two reasons, actually. First of all, I think, in my views, the biggest reason for this loss is not because of the batting, not because of the captaincy. It's just the first test, so I'm completely okay with that. The place where we had actually missed out, I feel, is on the experience bit of it. Because when we were in a strong state, when we were batting in both the scenarios, both the first innings and the second innings, we thought of pushing the run rate, thinking that whatever we have scored, thinking that it was Headingley, was good enough. So instead of again playing the added which comes in with seniority, with experience of taking it deep, did not happen, and people came like Shardul came and started hitting. So in those kind of scenarios, we should have actually prolonged the innings. But I personally feel this was completely related to the inexperience of the team and the history of Headingley being overweighing on the minds of the players more than what they had to do at this point of time, looking at the pitch, what it was. So people were thinking that it was cloudy and the new ball will swing, and so we have to give us the English batsmen at least minimum 1 hour on the fourth day of the evening. But that effectively would not have mattered had India batted throughout the whole day also. Even I was thinking we should, but on hindsight, we have the advantage of talking now in hindsight. On hindsight, I think it was a miscalculation. Definitely some communication, maybe the what communications came from the dressing room was also important, as I maintain that this series will be more about what communications comes from the dressing room. So I think it was all from two is in bad backup, extremely bad backup, but again comes with the experience, lack of experience. And to a lot of extent, I think what communication started coming in from the dressing room, because we are completely privy to the knowledge that once the dressing room communication of Pant came in, Pant got out first innings. So I think that was the main reason, I would say.
So you were saying that it was not only the two innings which were the mid-innings collapses, but it was also the other factors which were. So you see, the pitch was read very wrongly.
Pitch was completely read wrongly. The pitch looked dry, the pitch looked flat, but we were always thinking that whenever there would be a cloud cover, the ball would start swinging, which, except I think in the first 3 hours, I don't think it ever happened. I think a bit in the Indian innings after from the 10th over to around 25th over, that is when the ball was swinging. And obviously in the start, first 4 overs when Jasprit was bowling. But again, Jasprit bowls in the 78th over and he swings it also. So let's keep him outside this purview of discussion. So I definitely read pitch and the overhead conditions read wrong.
Okay, point to note, Sagar. Definitely sure that that is one of the reasons. Moving over to Sudeep, uh, even if we consider that the pitch was basically read wrong and we had other reasons, Sagar rightly said, I would like you to dwell on the team selection because, see, the reason why Ben Stokes took the bowling is in Headingley, people have won the toss and put others to bat, and they've won. People who have bowled first have won, and they finally did win because of Basball and others were going to come slowly. So it was a batting pitch for the last 2 days, a flat batting pitch. What is your take on how the Indian team went wrong with the selection, considering that last 2 days were totally flat days?
In
Over to
fact, what I feel is, as far as this reading of the pitch is concerned, it was read wrongly by both the captains, both the teams, because, otherwise Ben Stokes would not have put India into bat immediately after winning the toss, because he was expecting, to ball to seam and swing around, and, the pitch offering lot of money, lateral movements, and which did not happen. It was a very good batting pitch. And so it was, the pitch was read wrongly by both the teams. But as far as the Indian team selection is concerned, what I would like to point out, see, as far as batting is concerned, we had the best batting lineup given our resources, the select overall available players. So it was the best batting lineup. Bowlers, I would just like to point out a couple of things. See, they have India, as everybody was expecting some seaming conditions and the ball to swing around. So they had chosen, Shardul Thakur in place of Nitish Reddy, or had they known, that the pitch would be a good batting track, they might have gone for an extra spinner instead of Shardul Thakur. They were expecting, Shardul Thakur to pitch in with around 30, 40 runs and take few wickets, and bowl long spells. But somehow, I just felt that, the management did not have much confidence as the pitch, played true to its character. They did not have the confidence to bowl Shardul in long spells. For the reason being that he was, I think, hardly bowled 20 odd overs throughout the match, and the two wickets he got, that was, more out of, the batsman's fault rather than the ball doing something. So in hindsight, I feel that, had they read the pitch a bit correctly, they would have gone for a spinner, extra spinner instead of Shardul Thakur. And as far as the fast bowlers are concerned, I felt that, instead of Prasidh Krishna, had they gone for Arshdeep Singh, that would have added more variety in the bowling lineup. And we have very limited resources, to put very bluntly. We have very limited resources in bowling with hardly any backup for Bumrah. But I still feel that, Arshdeep adds a little more variety in the bowling lineup.
Yeah, Rajeev, you wanted to say something? Okay. So, Sudeep, you think that whatever resources given, there was one spinner shot and one pacer who played on the extra side, which was Shardul.
Because the Headingley pitch, behaved in a totally, and historically, the way it has behaved, it was totally different this time. It was a very good batting track. And
Correct.
somehow, so it was read wrongly by both the teams, I would say.
Correct.
So, but in any case, the point is that if you don't have much confidence in Shardul Thakur in bowling, then there is no point in picking him up.
Correct. Very true. And we have discussed this in our first show also. The selection conundrum will continue to hurt.
Yeah.
Whether we could have picked Shreyas, there will be discussions on this, because as India progresses, whether India wins or loses, I think Leeds was a fair chance to win. My personal take was a fair chance to win. And
2-3 changes in the second.
That too we'll discuss as we go on. Yes. Thanks, Sudeep. Thanks. My next question to you, Rajeev, something which we are discussing. Was India not in a position to read the Basball theory? We have been reading about it. We have been talking about it, that England scores the fastest. We have seen the data that England scores the fastest among all the teams in the last 7 years with McCullum and Stokes. They have won 70% of their test matches so far. They've lost a lot also, but they've won also. And any team that scores 400 plus on the last day, then you have to set a target of 600, which I have been also saying. For that, you need all more batting lineup. So your take on how Basball theory derailed India? I would like to say how Basball prevented India from winning this test match. Rajeev.
So what I would say is, first let's understand why this Basball theory came up. The Basball theory came up because under Joe Root's captaincy, England were losing more and there was no excitement in the way the cricket was played. So when McCullum and Ben Stokes came together, they thought that we have to make this exciting, which means that we play at a certain speed. And so there is some acceleration given. You have more shots, people going for more for their shots. So they said that even if we lose also, it's okay. But there is a way we are going to play, and we're going to be very aggressive in the way we are going to play. So what happened is in these 2 years, specifically 23 and 25, the WTC cycle for 23 and the WTC cycle for 2025, both did not yield England any results. They were number 4 and number 5 because they were winning more at home, but they were losing away. One of the big examples is England, how they lost in India when they came to India, they lost. So that time also the baseball theory, in theory it is right, but unless you win games, there is not going to be anything here. So now let's come to how India read it. So India read it. They know that England is going to come in a way they know. They also know this is the same team, England, which scored 378 through Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow. They scored 378, right? So they know that what is coming their way. They also knew that, England has put in some high-profile scores and all. England batting is the one which is going to come very hard. They bat till 9. Even Brandon Cars can bat. Even if I keep Cars away, till Chris Wokes, they are batting. They're batting very, very well. So India, I think, read the point correctly that this is what is going to happen, but they did not execute it properly. For example, first innings, we were short by 100 runs, and second innings, we were short by 50 runs. Shubman Gill at the post-match ceremony said that, we wanted to set up a target of around 425, 430, because he knows that England would play for 85, 90 overs, and 400 plus is not going to be made by these guys. It's going to be difficult for them with 85 overs. So which basically meant that India played out the entire day 4, and then maybe 5 overs or 7 overs in day 5. That was the theory, but it did not happen because he lost 34 for 6, which was not expected. So while you can plan, and they were prepared a bit for this baseball thing, you need to put it in execution. And as Sagar already mentioned, right, one of the biggest problem was that the lower order did not put a price to this thing. You had a scenario where Harry Brook just sledges, Prasidh Krishna saying, why don't you hit this for a 6? And he goes for the 6. But that is very, very foolhardiness. I mentioned this in one of my blogs also, that this is foolhardiness. I mean, you just sledge and you're getting out. So that's not fair, right? So I think the management has to look into all these things, because baseball will come. And mind you, England did not go at 5 run rate or 5.5 run rate. They started at 3, they went to 3.5, and Ben Duckett really played one of the innings he was the differentiator between the entire thing. He was the differentiator, 149 of around 180 balls. That was the difference.
Indian bowlers didn't have a plan for Duckett. I think they were more concerned with Root. I think so.
No, it's not the case, because Jadeja, I'll come to the other one. The biggest problem, so England won because, India created so many chances. First innings, they should have been 5 down on day 2. How many catches did we miss? Those are basics. Jaiswal kept missing. I mean, his hands were filled with butter, I think. So the planning was correct. I think they understood everything, but they just did not execute it. And that's what is the inexperience. I think Sagar spoke about that. It is inexperience which was showing up. Now, how we will discuss, obviously, Rahul, we'll discuss ahead that how they're going to come out of it, or what is.
So you think, Rajeev, just to shorten things, you think baseball was read correctly by Gambhir and Gill, but execution was poor?
Yeah, because the 430, the target Shubman Gill mentioned, because he knows that it has to be 400 plus. So he was correct. There's no doubt about it. So India fell short by 100 runs in the first innings, which was possible. And India fell short by 50 runs in the second innings, which was also possible. So they read it correctly, but they did not execute it.
My personal take in baseball is, you scored 600 and you kill the time also, so that you put enough pressure on them. But that only happens, Rajeev, when you have 2 bowlers like Shami and Bumrah. With one Bumrah, putting pressure on England is tough. That's my take. Thanks, Rajeev. My next question to Sudeep, and this is a very critical one. This is the backup to Bumrah. I think we all have a discussion on this. Sudeep, your points on backup to Bumrah, which is a horrible backup. And we have lost BGT for this. We are
I won't,
so
I won't say it's a horrible backup. In fact, there is no backup. To put it more clear, bluntly, there is hardly any backup. The bowlers are very. When I was expecting Siraj to perform a little bit better because he has the most experienced after Bumrah, and I expected him to bowl
36
with
test matches.
to bowl with some more sting, which is totally missing from his bowling nowadays. I don't know what's wrong with him, but see, a player playing 36 matches, you expect him to perform at a decent level, which is he's not performing. And he's very inconsistent, he's very erratic. And Prasidh Krishna, as in just coming from his IPL success, must have, played a part. He was mane, blasted all around, and he hardly had any answer to this aggressive batting lineup of England. So the the rest of the squad, the Arshdeep will be if he gets a chance, it will be his first test match. Akashdeep has also played only, I think, 3 for 4 test matches, seven test
Seven
matches.
matches.
So it's a very pretty inexperienced bowling lineup, and this is something, the backup to Bumrah is a serious issue, which needs, introspection by the
I
concerned
think that
management,
is where
because
India lost DGT.
unless until we have a proper backup to Bumrah, we cannot harbor hopes of playing the WTC final. With this kind of bowling lineup, you can get some kind of success to tailor-made pitches, in home conditions, but outside you are always going to struggle, and that is what is precisely happening everywhere. Even
Absolute.
now,
Thanks, Sudip. Yeah,
yeah.
one line from Rajiv and Sagar on the backup piece, because this is something we need to discuss. One line from Sagar and then Rajiv on the backup piece.
See, on the backup part of it, I completely go with Sudeep, what he's saying. But again, at the same point of time, my other question is we couldn't have dropped Prasidh Krishna for the first test. No, it was not tactically in cricket. Krishna. He was on show in the Sydney Test, which was the last test India played, and he was one of the best bowlers in the domestic circle, and obviously also in IPL. So that's one part of it. Now, how do you overcome it? Again, think of it: the Ishant Sharmas of the world and the Zach, which is Zahir Khan, did not happen overnight. It took them at least minimum two England series to actually come and get the success. So I don't think this series here is.
Sagarji, you're truncating. I mean, your voice is breaking up. I don't know if
Yes, the
others
voice
are
is
able.
truncating.
Yeah, it's
Voice is
truncating.
truncating for Sagar.
So
We couldn't hear much.
I'll just summarize in one line. What I'm saying is, it is all about experience. I'm again reiterating the point. It is all about experience. So, an experience does not come. So, these guys are playing in England for the first time. The Zahir Khans of the world and Ishant, who we had a huge success later on, and the Umesh Yadavs also, who we had good success later on, and what made Virat Kohli's bowling attack what it was, did not happen in the first two series when they played abroad. So we'll have to give this Prasidh Krishna, Siraj. Siraj, I don't think he has played enough. Prasidh Krishna, Mukesh, Arshdeep, whoever plays for that matter, we have to give them, I think, at least one or two series before we decide on. They were absolutely atrocious, but we'll have to wait it out. We can't decide just because of what happened on the first test.
Thanks to Sagar. Rajiv, your point, one line on the backup of Bumrah, which I think was one of the main reasons as well.
Yeah, so I agree with Sudeep that there is no backup to Bumrah because he's the greatest bowler of all time, right? So you can't get backup to them. But what you have today, so I'm okay with the selection which happened. So for Siraj is the most experienced after it's the first test you go with the most experienced. And Prasidh Krishna for what he did in Sydney, he picked up top order wickets, right? So he was picked. So it was okay. But now what is going forward is what you have to see. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, I think Bumrah and Arshdeep are going to go side by side. They're not going to play both together. That's going unless it's the fifth test. Otherwise, they are not going to get, because there is an injury scare and all those stuff. So they don't want two bowlers to taper off at the same time. So that's what I feel. But yeah, one thing is on Prasidh Krishna's. So he bowled good. The only problem is he was leaking too many runs. And Siraj, unfortunately, for the last couple of series, has tapered off. And I don't know. It's difficult
What
to say
I
why.
find of Siraj is he bowls short. He bowls short.
And बहुत
And he,
गुस्सा भी करता है. He just gets, I mean, he just gets very
somehow,
agitated
I
very
mean,
quickly.
for someone, as Sudeep rightly said, someone with 36 test matches to bowl short is a crime and a criminal offense.
Yeah,
36 test matches, you bowl short. How can you bowl short? You bowl fuller length in England because it swings. You bowl short and the batsmen will have ample time to come in the front. So that's what my take is. Thanks,
I think he
Rajeev.
gets carried away. That is this biggest problem,
Could be, could
This,
be.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Rajeev
Sudeep is
is very
right.
right. Well, Rajiv is right. He's tapering off badly. I mean, in India, it is very unforgiving. If you taper off, then there'll be two people in your. Unfortunately, there are no. Or fortunately, there are no pacers
now
right
the
now coming up.
second test, now he has to shoulder more responsibilities if
Yeah,
Bumrah
because
doesn't play.
Shami, I think from 2015 onwards was a spearhead along with Ishant. He picked up very fast, Shami, when he started playing for India. Then Siraj is playing 3 years, 4 years now. I think my take is he should now be the spearhead if Bumrah is not playing. Thanks, all of you. My next two questions to Sagar. What should Gill do? This is also a very critical question. And the possible selections on both sides.
The
Ahead of
first thing,
Edgbaston.
what should Yes. So first thing first, I don't think Gill did nothing wrong. To be very honest, any captain would have made a few mistakes here and there, and let's accept he was under a pressure cooker situation on the fifth day on a flat pitch, where he thought a lot of things would happen. It did not happen. So I don't personally think he learned. He learned from his mistakes. Yes, there were mistakes. There were glaring mistakes. He was almost chasing the ball. Wherever the ball was going through, he was putting one player over there. So what should he do is, first and foremost, he should be a bit bold now. I mean, if the only thing he has to do, he has to be a bit bold, because with baseball, you have to play fire with fire to hit baseball out of the ground. So if you are thinking of defending runs against baseball, you will never be able to be successful. You will have to have players in catching situations, and the places where they will hit the ball. You'll have to have players over there instead of guarding the boundaries. So I think what Gill made a mistake was he was trying to guard the boundaries very early on, when he already had, let's take it on face value, 470 odd runs in the first innings is not a bad run. It's a lot of runs. So, but he started defending very early. I think that's where he has to be a bit bold.
Point, Sagar. As Indian media and the English media also pointed out, a lot of times KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant were setting field, which was pointed out and very harshly pointed out that where is Gill? It was so. Your take on that? Field set by Vice Captain and Rahul.
I think Rajeev can take this question.
Yeah, I can take. And so my point is that Gill's captaincy was decent. For a first test captain, he was decent. We were all expecting him to do some errors, and he did those errors. But on the fielding part, see, I'll tell you one thing. Go and speak to Jadeja on the final day. So there was a rough in the end, right? I mean, at the side. So Jadeja was bowling on the loop. He was bowling to the center of the pitch and all those stuff. And that's when Ben Duckett kept on sweeping. Even Ben Stokes came and reverse swept and did. Ben Duckett was in another zone. Now, if he had started, and the moment he started to bowl on the rough, Joe Root found it very difficult to bat. And then Ben Stokes came and eventually gave his wicket to Jadeja. Jadeja also created a couple of chances where Pant put it down, right? So that discussion did not happen. So that is one problem. The second problem was Prasidh Krishna was leaking runs like nobody's business. And Siraj was also leaking runs when Harry Brook was batting in the first innings. Now you can bowl negative lines. Who stopped you from bowling negative lines? You have to slow down the pitch of the pace of the match, right? Baseball hoga, jo bhi hoga, but you have to slow it down, right? That was not happening, and that's where Shubman Gill has to mature. And I'm in full agreement. He has to become bold, and that starts from selection. Get 4 match-winning bowlers. Otherwise, it's going to be tough for you, right? I mean, the eighth batter you need, then there is a problem. Eighth can't be a batter; it has to be a bowler, which is what Virat was doing. So that he will learn eventually. I don't want to take any dig against Gill now. Let fight test be over. But
Thanks.
yeah, he has to learn. He has to learn.
Thanks, Rajeev. Sagar, this will take 2-3 minutes. The selection of the both sides and England. I want to ask you, whom do they replace when Geoffrey Archer comes? Geoffrey Archer will replace someone. Who is it? And the Indian changes.
In my books, I don't think Geoffrey Archer will be playing in Edgbaston. He'll start playing from Lords. So he's been added to the squad. There's been a lot of. Please understand, he's only bowled 18 overs after 3 years of not playing 5-day cricket. So 18 overs, that's a huge risk. Huge risk. If England wants to take that, good luck. Because Geoffrey Archer has a very huge tendency of breaking down very fast. He is very quick. He'll be 145 plus 150s. But I personally don't think, and knowing Brendan McCullum's way of also managing the team, he will wait out Geoffrey Archer till Lords. That's my personal thing. If Geoffrey Archer comes in, unfortunately, it has to be Brandon Cusp.
But Cusp took a lot of wickets in the first innings.
Yes, but please, at the same point of time, the type of bowler Josh Tongue suits Edgbaston.
But in Edgbaston, most of the information I have got from the media covering there is it's going to be a flat deck. They have kept grass, but the grass will be mopped off and it will be a flat deck. They're giving a flat deck. That's what I'm hearing.
So if it's a flat deck, Brandon Cars was more. He was more successful in the second innings. Why? If you see what he was doing, he was bowling up and he was swinging it a bit. So whereas Josh Tongue was the one who was hitting the pitch hard more. He was on the he was in the 4 to 6 area of the good length, and he was hitting the bats very hard. So that is where that awkward. And India always has a problem when abroad, not only in India. India always has a problem if the ball is up up in the good. A bit up. India will still play. The ball, when it gets shorter and it is coming up to your rib cage and it's that awkward length in the offside, that's where Indian batsmen struggle. So I personally think it can be Brandon Cars. But in the first place, I personally don't think Geoffrey will get into the team immediately.
So you think Geoffrey will not play?
Not at least in this one. He will come in, I think, sometime in fact, on the contrary, I like to think maybe Geoffrey Archer and Gus Atkinson both comes in Lords. That's how things may pan out.
Okay, one line from Rajeev and Sudeep. One line. Geoffrey comes in or not?
Geoffrey doesn't come in.
Okay. You're saying Geoffrey will come later?
I think England will retain the same team, the winning combination for this particular test. And maybe the next test, depending on how the result goes and how the bowlers perform, they may do the necessary changes.
Fair enough. Sagar, then on the second part of the question, what is the India's selections?
See, as of now, what we know, 2 people are not playing. That's what things are going out. For sure, Sai Sudarshan is not playing. So that's one batsman. And Bumrah, in most probabilities, is not playing. But again, knowing Gigi, because I'm a bit, again, I agree with Rajeev G over here, that he said Lords being Lords, maybe Bumrah wants to play in Lords, and especially after seeing the WTC final. If the pitch is anything close to what it was over there in the first 2 days, Bumrah can be lethal over there. He does not need a backup in that kind of a pitch. So, but again, if he misses out on Edgbaston, and in most probabilities he will be, because he did not train today in the first training session. He did not train. So if that is a hint, then I would think there are 2 places empty only, because if Bumrah doesn't play, Siraj has to play, Prasidh Krishna has to play.
So you think Prasidh PK will play?
I think he will be retained only for the pure reason of we can't have Arshdeep Singh and Akashdeep together. Together, it's a very big call. Very big call.
Some of the medias are saying that Akashdeep will play because he bowled today also long spells.
He did. I don't know. He did. But I'm only think of it logically and cricketing wise. Bumrah, your main strike pacer is not there. You then get into who's your best bet then? Your best bet is, in terms of experience, is Siraj. So you can't drop him, number one. So who's your next one? Who's already played in over here is Prasidh Krishna. So how do you drop him just because of one bad match with scores of 4 runs and over? I personally don't think so. And it has been also spoken very,
No,
very wide.
Prasidh Krishna gave 7 runs and over. He gave 17-10 to 7 runs and over. PK gave a lot
No,
of
no,
runs. He leaked runs
both the innings combined, he was
combined. Okay.
4.54.
Okay.
4.54 runs and over. So both taking into consideration. So I mean, on had Bumrah played, then Prasidh Krishna in most probabilities would have got the axe, and Arshdeep would have come in. But because Bumrah is not playing, Arshdeep is coming in. That's for sure. Because as per reports coming in, Arshdeep has already been told to be ready, and he was seen marking up his run up today.
That is
in
an obvious,
Edgbaston.
as we all know, and as Rajeev also said, it is obvious. If Bumrah doesn't play, Ashdeep plays. That will happen
Raj-
throughout the series.
So so the
So,
other
what is your take on Sai Sudarshan? Who plays Sai?
So Sai Sudarshan, as of now, I don't think the team has any clarity on it. But the forerunner over here is Abhimanyu Ishwaran because we do not have any other bowler in another number top 3 batsman in that category.
But there is a talk of Shardul. Shardul dropped and Nitish comes in.
That
That
can
is also
happen.
very much.
That is that's a like for like if you ask me. Because anyways, in the very first part of the
So
discussion,
you
we
are
said
saying one batsman short and you don't take Kuldeep, as Sudeep was saying. That Kuldeep also comes in and the Sai goes out and Nitish comes in.
no, I don't think that can happen. Sorry, because that you're basically who's your number 3 then in that case?
Number 3.
If Sai Sudarshan.
No,
Number 3 is Karan Nair. That's what sport. A lot of journalists have written today. The number 3 Karan Nair comes at 3.
No, I'm not bothered about journalists. I'm just talking real sense.
Yeah, Karan
So
Nair
you
will
give.
come. Karan Nair will
So
come at 3.
again, if that happens, that's a very woeful decision. Again, why? For the pure reason is you are bringing in somebody after 7 years into Test cricket. You're giving him one option, one test. Okay, he fails. He fails definitely at number 5, and because he fails in number 5, you can't push him back to number 3. And what happens if there's one quick early wicket in the first 5 overs, and the ball is swinging around? India batting first, Karun Nair comes in. So I don't think that is a far shot. I mean, you can
We'll
speculate
have to
as much as
see.
you want.
I see 3 changes. I see Shardul going out, Bumrah not playing, and Sai not playing. So
Yeah.
Abhimanyu Ishwaran, I'm not too sure whether will make a debut. Ashdeep will make a debut, I'm sure. Nitish will come in. Sai Sudarshan, I'm yet not sure if he doesn't play, then Abhimanyu play. Abhimanyu should play, but from my experience of Indian cricket, I think he may not play. Let's see. Thanks.
No, my
Sagar.
only question, my last closing statement would be: see, you cannot have somebody who's not been in number 3 and not played in number 3 or top 3 suddenly wake up one fine morning and play in England out of all places at number
No,
3.
they may move up Gill at 3 and Karan at 4. That is also being
That
thought
will
of.
not. That will not. That will not happen. Gill's done it number 4 for at least 1 or 2 years now. That's not
Let's
happening.
see. I don't know. Indian cricket has thrown up very many surprises. Okay, thanks, Sagar. To Rajeev now. What are the strengths of England which India should target and successfully hold?
So one thing is, I just want to complete that selection thing. So the fact is that I think at number 8, Shardul should not play. And I'll give you a reason why. Because if you're not utilizing Shardul to bowl 12 to 15 overs in an innings, there's no point in picking him. So it's better to pick Nitish Reddy, who will give 6 to 8 overs, and hope that he will stand up as the batsman and get you that lower order runs which was missing here. Otherwise, Shardul did not bring anything. He did bowl those couple of good balls to get wickets, but it was too end of the match. So that's one point. Now I'll come to the question which has been asked about England's strengths. See, England's strengths is specifically on batting. Last 2 3 years they've been batting as good as they can get, and the moment the pitch doesn't offer anything, it doesn't swing or anything, they really roll over. I mean, so they don't really. One thing is, the moment they see Bumrah is not going to play, they're going to play psychologically with India, because what they did in the second innings is they played out Bumrah. They said, I will not go after you, so don't worry at all. So Bumrah got tired, and then
And this
there
is
was not.
exactly the thing, I think, Rajiv, psychologically, as you rightly said, I think they will play Archer, knowing that Archer is not fit to bowl, just for pushing it against India, psychologically, they might push Archer to play. Just a
Unless
psycho.
no, so they can't take. Nobody wants to take an person who's not 100% fit. They cannot take a person who's not fully fit. So that so I think Jofra Archer's play is a very difficulty. But if they do play, then I think they may have seen in the nets and they
Yeah,
say,
they
okay,
have
we'll
taken him in
take.
the 14. See, England, Australia, when they
Yeah,
take someone, they normally play that person.
according to me, playing a half fit player is not that too a fast bowler is a risky option. If they do it, then it goes to India's advantage because he will second innings he will not probably not bowl at all probably. So that may happen, but I am not nobody to take a call on what England is there. The things which India has to watch out and watch out very well is that they have to ensure that whomsoever gets the starts they play well. For example, Jaiswal. Now Jaiswal got 100 and he got a single digit. That doesn't work. I mean, he's playing like a millionaire. या तो मैं century बनाऊंगा या I'll get you in single digit. That doesn't happen. You at least get a 30-40, right? I think KL Rahul, Gill, and Pant are the mainstays of this batting lineup. Jaiswal also, they have to put up a big inning and they have to see that if they get an opportunity, they get to that 500 plus. So for all other teams, 350, 400 is good enough. But I think for again, this England team, you need to get 500.
I think
So
600 also. 600, maybe 600.
yeah, one thing I agree with you that you also said that when 500, 550, when you go that side, you're also playing some time also for yourself. So I think that also plays. So England, I think their batting is just superstar kind of thing. They are really rocking at the moment. So Ben Duckett, everybody's on very high. Even Zach Crawley, who was struggling, came up with a very sublime innings of 63 of 120 balls. So there is no
Even
bash ball there, right?
Ollie Pope, who was struggling, has also come up well
Yeah, so
and
they
effectively
all
blocked out Bethel out,
yeah,
basically.
we all speak about the 500s what India got, but they also batted as good as what it is. It is just that they outbatted us, and we have to accept the result. But now it is very important that we make the comeback in Edgbaston because if we go 2-0 down, then we are in serious trouble. So let's hope that India can bat as much as they can. They put a price on their wicket. Karun Nair, like he played on the up at the start, that doesn't augur well for him. Two innings, both the innings he played on the up. That doesn't do good, yeah. 8 years के बाद आ रहे हो and you wrote all those cryptic tweets and all. You have to play. You have to put a price to your wicket.
Correct.
So England is an advantage in terms of the strength, I would say. And remember, one more strength is they think that India can't field well. So they will take advantage of that
The
also.
catching part we didn't
Yeah,
discuss,
they will
but
take advantage of that also.
it's a
Anyways,
horrible thing which
that
I think went against India. Correct.
yeah, it's basics, right? Anyways, that's all I will say. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Rajeev. And finally,
Just
Sudeep.
one thing over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Just one thing over here, and just one line. What has also happened, and we not much of media coverage on this has happened, is the Duke's ball. The Duke's ball pre 2022 was of a different quality. It had a different lacquer, and most importantly, the most important thing about Duke ball used to be, it used to have a very prominent seam, which used so that it used to keep the seam because Duke's ball is not as Kookaburra, so it used to stay strong. That seam used to stay up. Now what is happening is post 2020 with COVID, after COVID, the England team, because of their baseball theory and everything, I personally feel they have made a difference to the Duke ball, which is effectively, you see, after 2020 in England, how many how many cricket matches felt like you're playing like an English, even with heavy conditions, the balls are not even moving. I mean, it has to move, right? That's what we've been born and brought up with. इंग्लैंड में ऊपर अगर कुछ वेदर ऊपर आ गया तो आप पिच को मारो गोली, बॉल तो घूमेगा ही घूमेगा कुछ ना कुछ.
Yeah, thanks, Sagar. Yeah, Sudeep, finally, I'll give you a chance, Rajeev, later. Sudeep, your final closure on what could be the series from here and what would be Edgbaston like?
First of all, thanks to Rahul, Sagar, and Rajiv for joining this podcast. It was a very interesting discussion. And
Sir,
going
थोड़ा
forward,
mic ऊपर कर लीजिए please.
going forward, I feel that presently the England batsmen, as you correctly pointed out, are on a roll basically in a very ominous form for the Indians. So what they have to do is, Indians have to remain positive. because they're going to come back very hard, English batsmen, on the Indian bowlers. They have to remain positive. And as far as the team selection is concerned, I personally feel you got to have four frontline bowlers, because you have to bowl out the opposition twice in a match. Then only, if you have come out with a positive frame of mind, then only you can win matches. If you So for that, I feel that there should be three pacers and Kuldeep should be drafted into the side. So
So you
that
mean to
makes
say, Sudeep, that Jadeja will be dropped?
no,
That is also
Jadeja
been
should
discussed.
no. Jadeja should play. You see, there is no point in having eight batsmen. Jadeja can bat a bit if he gets some kind of support from the tailor. Although there
Jadeja
is
can
hardly
beat a bat a
bat a
lot,
bit,
not beat bat a lot.
bat a bit. So bat a lot. No, I'm taking taking the English conditions. So he can bat. So let's have seven frontline batsmen. But if Kuldeep plays, I would like to take Abhimanyu Ishwaran in place of Nitish, because he's a top order batter. So my
Yeah,
team will
obviously, if Kuldeep plays, Ishwaran will have to play. You can't take
Ishwaran will have
Nitish.
to play, because
Has to play if
then
Kuldeep comes. Yeah.
you cannot play Nitish. So the four bowlers will be, in as far as I am concerned, it will be Kuldeep, Akashdeep,
Siraj.
Siraj, Akashdeep, and Arshdeep. I'll just uh, gamble a bit by taking, both Akashdeep and Arshdeep, just to try something different, you know, because at this moment, Prasidh Krishna, I know it would be unfair to drop him just because he performed badly in one match, but I think uh, we need to do something different, so because Akashdeep can bowl well in these type of conditions, and Arshdeep adds a little more variety. So I would like to include both these in the playing 11. And let's hope, but the fact is that, uh, they have to counter this aggressive approach of the England batsmen. Bowlers will have to counter. So that's why they should believe in themselves, remain confident, and the fielding must support the bowlers. That is more
Yes, I think
important.
that's a very important point.
And
Fielding has to. So 6 catches dropped. Too
you
much.
cannot afford this kind of fielding in a test match and hope to win. So, had they taken the catches, the results could well have been different.
Yeah, India were up 4 sessions in the first 2 days, and from there to
So, I
lose.
think let's be positive, let's
Yeah,
let's be positive, I think, and
it has to
let's
be.
hope for the best.
I
Yeah.
think the best thing, all of us, we need to understand Bumrah not playing, and even if
Mm.
Archer doesn't play, India will have to tread their path very carefully. Because if Rajeev rightly said, I also feel if India goes 0-2, then Bumrah might be tempted to play the remaining three, which there
Yeah.
will be a push on him to play the remaining
And that
three.
is why I'm actually insisting on. I'm expecting the Edgbaston to be slightly batting friendly. That is why
I'm
the
hoping
Kuldeep factor comes in, because
there will be a temptation to
he
play
has
him.
an
Yeah.
X factor. He
Mm,
brings a lot of variety. So you have to
mm,
surprise the England batsmen to get them
mm,
out. So you
mm,
need some kind of surprise,
mm.
and Kuldeep
Yeah,
Correct.
the
brings
English
that
don't
surprise.
play spin also that well.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
so I think
There will be a
Kuldeep
lot of
should
tussle
get a
to
look in.
play Kuldeep, or maybe if Kuldeep plays, then Prashid Krishna is taken off. Otherwise, Prashid plays Ashdeep. If Kuldeep plays, Abhimanyu is playing this for no
Yeah,
sure.
definitely needs
If
to
he
play. He
has
has
to
to
play
play.
because there will be two batsmen short.
So
But I
in that
have a
case,
feeling that
to add more stability in the middle, suppose Ishwaran plays, he can open with Jaiswal and Rahul comes at number two.
yeah, there's a lot. See,
So
Ishwaran
that
is
adds
opener,
more
Rahul is
stability in
opener,
the
Gill is
middle order.
opener. Yeah,
That adds more
Ishwaran can
stability in the
open.
middle order.
But I think as a debut player, India may not want to expose Ishwaran at the top. I think it's my personal take.
Yeah,
They will
that
go with
may, yeah,
Rahul and Yashwal.
yeah.
And Abhimanyu Ishwaran, if he gets a chance, huge for him. Huge for him. He's been waiting in the fringes 5 years now, so huge for him if he gets a chance. He might.
See, I'll tell you why he has a huge chance is number one, as I told you in my previous communication. More importantly, please understand he is there with the Indian team. He almost made a debut in BGT.
Hmm.
Almost.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the buck stops here. He has to play.
Let's see. I think he may not. We'll have one place, so there's a doubt. So that could be that. Otherwise, it looks to be a very good tussle in hand. If it's a batting deck, I hope only that Gill wins the toss. Otherwise, again, there'll be some problem. And I am somehow feeling from my experience that they will be putting in a half fit Jeffrey Archer. I have a feeling they'll put in Archer somehow, just because Bumrah is not there. So that's my feeling. Yeah, Rajeev, we've been itching to say something for long, and we'll close with you.
No. So one thing is, it's a very, very good point what Sagar brought up is on the Duke's ball. It's a super point. And you remember, Rahul, आपसे बात हो रहा था, we spoke on this topic also, that there was one of the reasons is that very long ago, even before everything, we started our podcast also. One of the things we discussed is we wanted to play Karun Nair at number 4 and Gill at 3 for the simple
Three.
reason because Karun
I
Nair
said
has
this.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Karun Nair has played this Duke's ball. So then he comes up the order, so it helps.
Correct.
But Abhi, now we can't speak, and I think Gill has done his part, Pant has done his part. So it's Karun Nair to fill that lower order and take care of that 5, 6, 7, and shepherd that lower order. So we won't talk, but it is a very good point. So both, actually, we were thinking that side, so good one there. I think Ishwaran should play. I mean, there's no doubt, and I agree 100% with Sudeep. Play the 4 bowlers because you have to win the match. You can't play for a
bowlers
draw.
take wickets. Batters
Yeah,
will take you
20
to the
wickets
run.
unko
Bowlers-
ही लेना ना
20
भाई.
wickets.
And then Kuldeep would play. I mean, the second innings there is rough. Kuldeep can, and I agree. I mean, everybody is saying right. England don't play spin so well. Jadeja bowled. He did not bowl the correct line at the right time. He bowled it very late, and by
I
that
am
time,
disappointed with Jadeja, and I have a outside feeling that this could be his last. Anyways, this is his last England tour, and I think his time is running out as a Test cricketer. And I don't know. I have a feeling
Agree.
his time is running out now.
So I'm in agreement with everything. The only thing is playing Akashdeep and Arshdeep together is a tough call. I don't think it'll happen. The management has to be bold enough to take their calls, but they have to believe that they can win. That's the whole point. The moment the 8th batter comes in, it means that they're defensive. And that's not good for a sec. Once you're 0-1 down, you can't go that way. So you have to.
So selection conundrum still, as we are not able to decide ourselves. So there is a conundrum. One is Nitish coming in. I'm sure Nitish coming in schedule. That is decided. Bumrah going out, Arshdeep coming. These 2 done. The only place where we are thinking is Sai Sudarshan. We don't know. And the other is the one with Arshdeep PK, Prasidh Krishna. So there could be 4 changes. As many as 4 changes. As of now, there are 2 changes. So let's see. Yeah. On that note, I think we will call it a day today. Thank you, gentlemen, all of you.
Thank you so
And
much.
we hope India does well with the changes. That's all we hope. And the fielding goes up. And we will definitely have a review after the test.
Improvement in the middle order.
Absolute. Thanks, Sagar, Sudeep, and Rajeev.
Thanks.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Good night.